new characters with new gimmicks. The costumes are brilliant costumes, and the makeup in here, it's the same team. Everything just got bigger.
I was hoping you'd drop in.
We had taken a giant leap from the Michael Keaton film and then had built on that from the Val film to the George Clooney film. And at that point, you know, you have the same group of people that had been working on the same problem for 2.5 years.
We can design a piece that fits into here. So
well, we can certainly do scenes with and without it.
On all those movies, you have the common link of the costume designer and Bob Ringwood's interpretation of the original vision, and then the development of that. And I presume Warner Brothers' concerned that there is some follow-through from one to another.
And then what we're going to do is this gets painted, then the glove comes to a line, and then it'll go to a point on the glove.
I don't think we ever had it that well worked out. I think it was just a creative process. Deals with, okay, we have this suit, now where are we going to go from here on out?
There's something about an anatomically correct rubber suit that puts fire in a girl's lips.
They wanted to basically have it feel human in a way and yet very sort of animal in a way, if that makes any sense to you. And it was trying to come up with that sort of combination that just worked. And I think Joel loved the idea of having nipples on it, as I recall back now.
Joel Schumacher is the man who put the nipples on the batsuit. That's what Joel Schumacher did. And it amazes me that that could have offended as many people as apparently it did.
Bob really wanted the blue-black suit on that movie. And in the beginning, we loved the blue-black because it was more like the comic where you get the blue highlight on the black. But then we found out later that it didn't hide as many sins as the all-black suits did. You know, if they got a scratch or a cut in it, it showed. The cape attachment was a different thing. The original one, it came from here, and this one we had some machine parts milled so that the cape actually came from one place and rotated. So we hired a guy from aerospace industry to mill the pieces for us so that we could have this really sleek closure on the cape. The heads were the hardest part to run because they were a 360 thing. There was no seam in them. So those were usually, the nose was the one where we got the most air bubbles. That was the problem. And the ears, the only ears at the end of the ear would come off.
I tell you, all right, got a little wax in my ear.
All the guys complain about their costumes, all right? That they're heavy, they're hot, and they are. They weigh over 50 pounds, and they're brutal to wear.
The actors get extremely hot, even though keeping a little air conditioner on him all the time when he's off camera, so it cools down the outside of the suit, so he's not running in water.
The batsuit's a little trickier. The problem is everything covers your ears are completely blocked, and your eyesight is like that, and everything is up underneath your throat, and everything is about 2 sizes too small, you know. You're just clamped in. You can really only stay in for about 15 minutes before, if you're doing any kind of thing physical, before you have to get out.
Whee! Batman!
You can't put your hands in your pockets, you know. Great actors' tools like cigarettes and things, Batman doesn't get them, you know. So you don't have anything to do with your hands, so you gotta just stand there like that.
I got mine. Where's yours?
Making a Robin suit and a Batman suit, the only real difference in the production of it is that you start the sculpt on this actor's cast or that actor's cast, but in the end, the processes are all the same. The paint choice is maybe a little different at the end, but to make a Bat or a Robin is pretty much exactly the same thing.
The only difference between the Batman and Robin suits are Batman has calves and forearms, even though you don't see them because they're covered in boots and gloves, and Robin doesn't.
The Robin suits on this movie were a little more grown up, a little more muscular. The colors were a little darker. It wasn't this Technicolor, so it was more like the dark side of Robin a little bit on this movie.
There was something about putting that suit on, and it just made you want to, be a superhero, and you really you kind of bought into it. It was just this amazing body and this thing.
And 1, 2, 3, action!
When kids would come on the set, It was unbelievable. I mean, they would literally be speechless.
Bruce, it's me, Barbara.
Batgirl was a different thing because on all of the Robin and the Bat, you're trying to add bulk to them to get them to be this perfect male figure. And for female, there's only a couple places you can do that, and the rest of it, you're trying to keep as slim as possible.
You're about to become compost.
Batgirl had a lot of flipping and kicking and fighting, and she had these boots that are up to here with, really high heels. And so most of the thing that we changed on the Batgirl was the heels. We cast some that looked exactly like the high heels in foam so that when she ran, she could run a little more flat-footed and not be on such a high heel. And then we made some of them with a much shorter heel and made them look like the original boots. But that was the hardest thing, and there was no place to hide a flying harness on that costume.
I guess that, we all are supposed to be fit because of the fact that you're going to wear this heavy, heavy costume and you need to be able to run around and have your endurance be good so that you can manage the whole day with this suit on. But I spent so much time complaining in that costume that I didn't see any payoff. You don't notice that because I'm physically fit that I would be more comfortable in the suit.
On the days that they wore the costume, V. Neal and her crew would have to paint around the eye area so that the mask that went on blended nicely to the skin color underneath. Robin and Batgirl's mask was glued onto their face, not strapped on with little straps like you were at a birthday party.
Batgirl was kind of fun to do because we didn't really want to black out her eyes, so we didn't even give her a black mask. Her mask was kind of an opalescent dark blue, so I mixed up a kind of dark blue frosted eyeshadowy type thing that I painted around her eyes that kind of matched her mask. It was a neat combination of a black and a blue frosted on top, so it kind of gave her a little bit more of a softer look with her blonde hair for her whole new look.
No sign of the snowman.
Maybe he melted.
When they morph into another suit, we only had about 3 weeks to produce those suits at the end of the movie. So we went back and took some of the ones from the movie before and cast the silver pieces onto those suits and then glued them on.
You ride?
Felt like I was making a toy commercial. I mean, literally. It was, all of a sudden, we were in these new suits. I'm like, okay, so I'm just trying to think of the story of how this works. It's like, let's not ask questions. We've got new silver suits, okay? It's just the way it is. I need a sign.
How about slippery when wet?
Poison Ivy went round and round for a long time. She was down to the wire on that costume. My involvement with her was mostly in the beginning where I had to find resources for the latex rubber. At that point, it wasn't a big fad and fashion. And figure out if you could dye it and what you could do with it, and painting and dyeing to get the combination of colors on it.
It informs you a lot about the character. And this sort of swagger that she has is very much, she's wearing thigh-high boots and a rubber costume. I mean, you're not going to walk around sheepishly. It's a brave look.
Tell me your plan.
Kiss me and I'll tell you.
One thing I would love to have done, we never did do it, is for the Poison Ivy costume. When she morphed into a fighting machine, Bob wanted her to be very menacing. And there are all of these trees around Los Angeles with all the spikes and the thorns on them. They're sort of a green bark and they get pink flowers on them.
We molded some trees to get the spikes, but I think we sort of ran out of time at the end and didn't get to go with that.
What are you, about a 50 big and tall?
No, I always go a size smaller. Makes me look slimmer.
The designs layer after layer after layer, but they are one of the most beautiful things I've ever gotten to work on.
And technology, everything freezes.
It is shiny. It's beautiful chrome armor that they usually wear when they go out and fight the battles. And it is an armor that is truly like in the old days of the knights, an armor like that weighs, 60 or 70 pounds, and you carry this thing around all day. Don't you feel sorry for me already?
I always say it was the refrigerator meets the Terminator.
I will pull Batman's heart from his body and feel it freeze in my hands.
I worked under Master Terry English, and we did the Mr. Freeze suit for about 6 months. We did 7 full metal suits. The suits themselves were completely hand-hammered out of aluminum. They're aircraft aluminum. There was about 10,000 blue LEDs per suit. From what we understand, we bought every blue LED in the continental United States. There was over 500 parts. That's not counting the LEDs as individual pieces, all the way down to little tiny hand-bashed rondelles, little tiny round pieces that we had to custom cut. Some of the stuff was machined at a different shop, but the majority of everything was custom made by us and hand-hammered out by us.
The laborious part of a suit is going to the wardrobe shop while they're making it and putting on just this piece and being able to feel how it moves on your shoulder. He must have been at the wardrobe, I would say, 10 times over the course of the manufacturing the suit.
They were very comfortable, believe it or not, because they move in so many different directions. Everything is jointed well so that you're not fighting it. It moves where you want it to move. If you had to, you could do a shoulder roll in that suit. Wouldn't be very comfortable, but you could do it. I actually wore one of the free suits. Arnold and I were exactly the same size. So they put the suit on me, and I did all the karate kicks and was doing all sorts of stuff in these suits because Terry wanted to make sure that these fit Arnold, that they worked well. I remember Joel Schumacher walked in, and I was leaping from table to table in one of the suits. He looked at me, turned around and went back. It was like, I don't want to know.
If revenge is a dish best served cold, then put on your Sunday finest.
The reason why the Batman films look so good is because the people working on it many times love what they're doing. And I think that's the key. If you really love what you're doing, it will show in the product.
I still feel that this movie has best manufacture, best design, best concept of a superhero. I mean, the costume I think is great. It's sexy.